After 3 long years of silence, her fiancé revealed an amazing question that healed our broken bond. Sarah stood beneath the bright string lights of the town fair, the scent of fried dough and cotton candy swirling around her like an old friend. Laughter erupted from children racing toward the games, yet her heart felt like a stone. It had been 3 long years since Tom, her once vibrant fiancé, drifted away, lost in the shadows of battle and distant memories. She remembered the man he used to be. Now, their love was weighed down by silence. She carried the sorrow like a painting, a cacophony of colors that expressed sadness, resilience, and a longing for the life they once dreamed together. Her friends nudged her toward moving on, but her heart whispered that their bond wasn't entirely broken. As she mixed her paints, trying to channel her muddled emotions, she hoped for a spark of inspiration, one that could pull her from the depths of despair. The fair buzzed with excitement, yet Sarah felt separate from it all, an observer on the outside looking in. Just as the lively chatter reached a crescendo, she noticed a familiar silhouette cutting through the crowd. Tom. Her breath caught, the air heavy with hope and fear. He stood there, under those twinkling lights, like a storm cloud in a sunny sky. Their eyes locked, a spark igniting between them. There was so much unsaid, so much they had lost in those years. Gathering her courage, Sarah stepped closer as he moved toward her, his face weary, marred by battles fought within himself. "What would it take for us to heal?" he finally asked, his voice raw and uncertain. That question hung in the air, heavy with memories and emotions that collided like fireworks bursting in the night sky. Tears welled in Sarah's eyes as the realization washed over her. This was their moment. They had once shared dreams of a future filled with laughter, and now here they were, awkwardly confronting the past. "Tom, I wouldn't know where to begin," she whispered, the weight of 3 years creeping into her voice. Laughter from nearby booths faded into a gentle hum, and for the first time in years, they began to talk. They wandered through the chaotic noise of the fair, slowly peeling back layers of hurt, examining the scars left by war and the loneliness that had seeped into their lives like a stubborn stain. "I miss you," he said, his eyes glistening with vulnerability. "I miss us." Her heart raced. "I thought I lost you," she admitted, feeling the warmth of connection that had never really faded. They spoke about family expectations, their own fears, and the pressure to conform. Each honest word felt like a weight lifted, like the air was clearing around them. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now, let's continue. As they stood there, laughter around them mingling with their shared sorrow, something shifted. The fair continued on, but for Sarah and Tom, time paused. Their futures hung in the balance, fragile but filled with possibility. Would they take this chance to rebuild what was lost? Or would silence and pain claim them again? Fireworks erupted above, painting the world in vibrant colors, a perfect echo of the confusing blend of hope and uncertainty that surrounded them. Standing on the edge of that emotional cliff, Sarah felt her heart beating to the rhythm of the fair. Would they jump into the unknown together, or allow fear to pull them apart once more? The question loomed, as both fear and excitement coursed through her veins. The fireworks crackled above, their colors splashing against the night sky, drawing Sarah and Tom even closer. He reached for her hand, fingers brushing lightly, a timid connection, but one that sent jolts of electricity through her. Everything around them faded. The world shrank to just the two of them. "Can we start again?" Tom asked, his voice barely above a whisper, as if he feared that raising it too much would shatter the moment. Sarah's heart swelled, and a part of her wanted to scream yes. 1,000,000 times yes. But another part held back, cautious. "I don't know," she hesitated, weighing the fragility of their situation. "I know it's been hard. I know I've hurt you," he said, his eyes darkening with regret. "But I've missed you every second. This feels like home." Hot tears pricked her eyes. It was the raw honesty she had longed for during their silence. The yearning for the person who used to fill her days with joy now felt like a lifebuoy thrown from a sinking ship. "I feel like I don't even know you anymore. You were gone, but you're right here, in front of me." The corners of Tom's mouth turned up slowly, but the smile didn't reach his eyes, still heavy with the burdens he carried. She saw how hard he fought to stay in control, trying to juggle memories of pain and the spark of hope. "Then let us rediscover each other," he urged, determination lighting a fire behind his gaze. "We can be stronger together. They say love can heal, right?" "Love is supposed to heal," she replied, remembering the stories they used to tell each other. But now doubt lingered beneath her carefree thoughts. Suddenly, those carefree days felt so distant, almost like a fairy tale. "We've both changed. What if we can't find that connection again?" Tom took a step closer, tilting his head to catch her gaze. "I want to try. What if we start from where we are now, raw, unfiltered? We can build a new foundation together." With his heartfelt plea, Sarah felt a glimmer of hope ignite inside her. They weren't the same people they had been, but perhaps that wasn't such a bad thing. "What would you do differently?" she asked, curiosity mingling with lingering caution. "I'd listen more," he confessed, looking down momentarily, shame shadowing his features. "I'd make sure you know how important you are to me, how much I appreciate you. I took you for granted." Their discussion flowed under the rhythm of the fair, voices rising and falling, laughter punctuating their confessions. Hours passed like minutes, yet every second felt vital, as if they were cradling their fragile bond, protecting it against the shadows. But as the night wore on, the inevitable heaviness returned, lingering in the back of Sarah's mind. "Tom, what if we can't escape the past? What if it keeps knocking, no matter how much we try to move forward?" He was silent for a moment, eyes scanning the carnival booths, kids running in their bright costumes, laughter masking struggles. "We can face it. Together." For the first time in a long time, she believed in together. But was together enough? Would the facade of the fair, with its cheers and twinkling lights, be enough to guide them through the real darkness waiting just beyond their bubble? The uncertainty loomed again like sparks fading into the void. What if tomorrow would bring more questions? As the last firework exploded overhead, scattering like stars, her thoughts raced in frantic circles. Could healing truly come from shared vulnerability, or was she signing up for more heartache? As they stood together in the fading light, Sarah felt both hope and fear collide. She thought she could sense the future stretching out before them, chilling and unknown. "What if you find yourself drifting away yet again?" she wondered aloud, catching his searching gaze. "Then we fight it," Tom replied firmly. "But let us promise to fight for each other." A promise echoed in the stillness of the fair, but was it strong enough to break the silence of the last 3 years? Determined yet afraid, Sarah took a deep breath, ready to step into the fray of their renewed journey, but uncertain of what awaited them ahead. Would they finally find their way back to each other, or would the shadows reclaim their voices? The questions loomed like the last remnants of smoke in the air, leaving her restless for answers yet to come. The air was cooling, and the vibrant sounds of the carnival began to soften, merging into a soothing background hum. Sarah felt a slight shiver run up her spine, a mix of excitement and trepidation. She wanted to hold on to this moment, to the way Tom's gaze was locked on her, so earnest, so alive. "What should we do first?" she asked, trying to steer her mind away from the shadows creeping in the edges of her thoughts. "How about we ride the Ferris wheel?" Tom suggested, a spark of nostalgia brightening his face. She hesitated, then nodded. The Ferris wheel was a mark of their past. "Sure, let us go." As they made their way, he reached for her hand again, this time with more confidence. With each step, memories surged laughing as they whirled in the dizzying heights, the thrill of riding together. The pain suddenly felt a shade lighter as they climbed the structure. Once they reached the top, the view was astounding. The sprawling fair glimmered below, but all Sarah could focus on was Tom, the way he smiled, catching glimpses of old warmth. It felt surreal to be up there, together again, sharing the same space that had once held so much joy. Tom leaned closer, and his breath brushed against her ear, almost a secret. "Look at that, Sarah. Just like old times." Her heart raced. "Yeah, just like old times," she echoed, but each word tasted bittersweet. As the wheel began its descent, her mind whirled with the weight of their promise. Could this be the turning point? The prospect of tomorrows began to bloom within her, cautious yet vibrant. "I know I haven't exactly been the best partner," he said suddenly, breaking the dreamy silence. "But it's time to change that." "Tom, you don't have to," she started, but he placed a finger gently against her lips, silencing her. "I want to," he insisted with an intensity that sent her heart thumping. "What I didn't understand before was how much I needed you. It's not just about us anymore. It's about who we can be together." "But how do we fix what's broken?" Sarah mournfully asked, searching the depths of his eyes. "Well, I think we start small," he answered, a smile warming his face. "By setting goals, planning things out. Date nights. Honestly communicating. But above all, I want us to feel safe with each other." A soft smile danced on her lips. "Safe, yes, like we can be vulnerable and not worry about who we were. Just focus on who we want to become." Tom's words wrapped around her heart like a comforting blanket, but shadows whispered warnings. Could they really reforge such a fragile bond? With renewed courage, she replied, "I want that too. I'm scared." "Me too," he admitted, his gaze unwavering. "But fear can't hold us back anymore." As the final descent neared, Sarah felt hope surge through her just as the last burst of fireworks erupted behind them. The colors illuminated their faces, painting them in bright hues of red and gold, a reflection of their hearts. "Promise me something," she said, her voice steadying. "No matter what happens, we don't go silent again. We speak up." "Promise," he whispered, his thumb brushing against her cheek. But as they stepped off the ride, the enchantment of the moment began to shift. The carnival's brightness faded, replaced by a nagging thought. The past didn't just vanish, it lingered, lurking in the words still unspoken, challenges yet to come. What exactly would they uncover as they peeled back their layers? That question loomed heavy. Just as they made their way down, an unsettling voice broke through the laughter and music, echoing unnervingly in her mind. Is it really worth the risk? Could they be brave enough to face the real test? As they stepped into the bustling crowd, Sarah felt a pulse of anxiety. The laughter and cheers around them blurred into a distant sound as her focus shifted inward. Tom's presence was a comforting weight beside her, yet uncertainty gnawed at her heart. How could they navigate the waters of their past while trying to stay afloat in the present? "Let's grab some cotton candy," Tom suggested, his voice slicing through her thoughts. "Sure," she replied, trying to muster enthusiasm. The colorful strands seemed to float in the air, sugary memories of childhood flaring in her mind, but Sarah's heart felt heavy. Would sharing light moments be enough to bridge the deep chasm that had formed between them? When they reached the vendor, Tom expertly spun a fluffy pink cloud of sweetness, handing it to her with a smile. She took a big bite, the familiar taste almost nostalgic, yet the sweetness was tinged with the bitterness of their unspoken words. "Remember when we used to argue over who got the last bite?" Tom asked, eyes twinkling. "Yeah, and you always pulled the boyfriend card," she teased, lightening the mood. "Guilty as charged." He laughed, but it quickly faded. "I miss those carefree moments, Sarah. We need to find a way back to that." Her heart softened, but doubt remained. What if his efforts were only a temporary fix? The fear of falling back into silence gnawed at her. "Can we really go back?" A shadow crossed Tom's face. "We might not go back to how things were, but maybe we can create something new. Something better." Sarah paused, her fingers clenching around the cotton candy. Would it really be possible? The thought of forging a new path filled her with a strange mix of hope and dread. The past was so vivid, it felt like an anchor, weighing them down. "How do we do that?" she asked quietly. "Let's start with honesty," he said, determination leaking into his tone. "What I didn't admit before was that I was afraid. Afraid of losing you, afraid of admitting I had lost myself." Pain shot through her. "You weren't alone, Tom. I felt lost too." I know, he said, his gaze steady. But we have to stop letting fear control us. We have to embrace it, even if it scares us. Bottled emotions boiled to the surface, and Sarah's voice trembled as she spoke. Do we risk shattering everything again, or just live with this weight forever? If we keep pretending everything is fine, we'll only dig ourselves deeper, he urged, his eyes capturing hers. We need to find a way to understand each other again, no matter the pain. We have to be brave. The challenge stirred something inside her. Looking into his eyes, she saw a flicker of the boy she fell in love with, the protector she had admired for so long. What if we really tried? I mean, like truly tried? Let us take it one step at a time, he said, a new light of determination shining in his face. And maybe we'll discover something beautiful amid the chaos. Encouraged, she nodded, feeling a cautious spark of hope. As the fireworks exploded in the evening sky once more, flickering against the backdrop of darkness, Sarah found herself laughing for real this time. The laughter drew in a few curious bystanders who shared quiet smiles, and for a moment, it felt like their struggles could dissolve in the air, replaced by warmth and possibility. But just as her heart began to embrace this new chapter, a scream pierced through the revelry, and all eyes turned toward what had disturbed the festive mood. Sarah's stomach dropped as she recognized the voice of face from their past that she never wanted to encounter again. Could the past truly be laid to rest, or would it come roaring back to undermine their fragile reconciliation? The crowd shifted restlessly around them, laughter turning to murmurs as the familiar scream sliced through the air. Sarah felt her heart race, an old panic clawing at her throat. She could hardly move, the bright colors of the festival becoming a blur as she focused on one thing, seeing the source of that voice. Sarah! It rang out again, desperation threading through the exclamation. There he was, Jason, her first love. The person she thought she had put behind her, the person she had sworn not to face again. A knot twisted in her stomach. How could this be happening now, at this moment when things felt like they were starting to mend? Tom stood rigid next to her, confusion and tension radiating from him. Do you know him? He asked quietly, his eyes narrowing, searching her face for answers. Yeah, she breathed, the weight of the past pressing down on her like a thick fog. We dated a long time ago. He shouldn't be here, Tom said, his voice low, edged with a protective instinct that made her heart flutter. She glanced at him, grateful and terrified. Are you okay? I don't know, Sarah admitted. Every part of her felt like it was in free fall. She had fought hard to separate herself from that life and that boy. Memories and emotions surged, swirling in uncertainty. Jason made his way through the crowd, his eyes searching. As he got closer, tangible memories began to drift back, the sweet whispers, the first kisses, and the way he had shattered her heart without a second thought. That breakup had left her raw. Now he stood before her, the world around them fading as her focus narrowed on his face. His expression was conflicted, desperate. I didn't know if I'd ever see you again, he said, breathless. I've missed you, Sarah. You don't get to just show up like this, she replied, her voice shaking with anger and hurt. She could feel Tom's presence beside her, firm and reassuring, even as she battled the sudden onslaught of feelings. Let us talk, Jason urged, his voice low but intense. Let me explain, let me apologize. It's been years, and I've changed. I just need a moment now. Tom interrupted, his tone cold. With us standing here? This isn't just about you too, Jason countered, turning to face Tom with a mixture of defiance and weariness. This is about Sarah too. She deserves to know what I deserve, she interrupted sharply, feeling renewed anger surging within her, is to not have my past crash back in like some kind of disaster. She turned back to Tom, looking for reassurance. You're right. This isn't the time. But Jason continued, his eyes pleading. Just hear me out. I had no idea how much I regret leaving you. Even now, I think about what we had enough. Tom's voice was loud enough to draw glances from passers-by. Don't drag her back into your chaos. Not while we're trying to move forward. The tension hung thick in the air. The vibrant festival continued its celebration, but for Sarah, It was like stepping into a dream where everything was muted, colors washed out, sounds barely audible. "I've fought so hard for this second chance," she said, her voice breaking, "and you just waltz back in as if you can fix everything with a few words." "I'm not trying to fix anything," Jason shouted back, desperation creeping in. "I just want you to know how sorry I am." The crowd began to part slightly, interested eyes watching this unexpected confrontation unfold. Sarah felt smaller, trapped between two versions of her past and present and a future that felt utterly uncertain. Tom's voice softened, breaking through the tension. A familiar warmth spread over her hand as he squeezed it, grounding her. "We can walk away. We don't have to do this now." But just as she began to consider his offer, Jason stepped closer, urgency in his eyes. "Please, just give me a second. I can explain everything. I owe you that much." Her heart raced and her chest caught between the man who once held her heart and the one who fought to win it back. Was it too late to understand what Jason meant? Was hope for clarity still possible? As she opened her mouth to respond, a brilliant flash of fireworks exploded overhead, momentarily lost in the chaos of swirling emotions. Would this be the moment that defined her? Or the one that steered them back into turbulence? For the first time that night, Sarah felt the tightrope of her present and past stretched to its limit, a precarious balance hanging on a word or a choice that could change everything. The air was thick with tension, the crowd oblivious to the storm brewing in Sarah's heart. Fireworks lit up the night sky, each explosion a reminder of the fragility of the moment. She stood on the precipice of two lives, each beckoning to her with equal intensity, and one wrong step could plunge her into chaos. Jason's eyes were wide with remorse. "Just listen, Sarah. I made mistakes. I realized too late how much you meant to me." His voice trembled, raw with emotion, cutting through the celebratory noises around them. Tom's stance shifted slightly, a protective wall forming between Sarah and Jason. "This isn't about what you realized, Jason," Tom said firmly, his grip on Sarah's hand tightening. "She's not a pawn in your story. You had your chance, and you lost it." "Maybe so," Jason replied, glancing at Tom, "but Sarah deserves to know why." He took a deep breath, his gaze locked back onto her. "After everything, I've tried to find the words stop talking." Sarah interjected, her voice sharper than she intended. She felt the flare of anger and confusion intertwined, making it hard to breathe. "You can't just rehash the past like it didn't leave scars." "Scars can heal," Jason said softly, desperation etching his features. "Please let me explain why I left. It was never about you. I was running for myself." The sincerity in his eyes pierced through her defenses. Memories surged, long talks under the stars, laughter so intense it hurt. She had loved him and lost him. But losing him had changed her too. It awakened strength she didn't know she had. Beside her, Tom's tension was palpable. "You owe her nothing. She's moved on, Jace. We're here together now." The firmness of his tone was a promise that he would stand by her, no matter what decision she made. "Moved on?" Jason echoed incredulously. "Is that what you think? This is not just me talking to her as a ghost from the past. There's still a spark here." "Enough of this," Sarah breathed, fear catching in her throat. "You think showing up like this gives you the right to announce sparks and regrets? You don't. Not after the way you left me." Her words hung in the air, heavy and bitter, yet cathartic. She was no longer that broken girl waiting for a phone call that never came. She was someone who had rebuilt herself from the ashes. The festival's music and laughter echoed in the background, a stark contrast to the storm of emotions swirling around them. "Sarah," Jason's voice softened, almost pleading. "I know I hurt you. I understand if you can't forgive me, but please, let me try. Just once. Let us talk like we used to, without anyone else around." Tom's face hardened. "You think you can just waltz back in and she should be okay with it? That you can stir things up because it's convenient for you?" "Tom, please," Sarah said, softening her voice. She needed time. But before she could gather her thoughts, Jason stepped forward. "I can't walk away again. I've been trying to find you for years. You should know that." The crowd shifted around them, a throng of people swept up in joy and celebration, while the three of them stood rooted, a trinity of unresolved feelings and tangled pasts. For a fleeting moment, Sarah's heart fluttered, caught between remembering the innocence they once shared and the bitter lessons learned in heartache. If she were to reach out, what would she find? The sky erupted again, a shower of colors exploding overhead. Time stood still as emotions raced. Sarah felt the pull of two lives, two futures laid before her like a fork in the road. All she needed was a sign, a reason to believe in the possibility of rekindled love or the need to forge ahead alone. As the last fireworks sizzled and faded, Sarah's heart pounded in her chest, ready to break or heal. Would she allow herself to navigate this tangled web of feelings or choose the path that promised steadiness and a future with Tom? The moment of decision hovered in silence, stretching out endlessly as Sarah grappled with her choices. In that heartbeat, everything could change, but how would she choose? Tom squeezed her hand tighter, grounding her, while Jason's hopeful eyes waited, hungering for her reply. And just like that, the weight of the night loomed over her. What would be the defining answer to this dramatic reunion? The flickering lights of the festival cast a surreal glow on Sarah's face, illuminating the conflict raging within her. The laughter and music faded into a hum, replaced by the drumbeat of her heart, thudding hard against her ribcage. Every fiber of her being seemed to hold its breath, waiting for her next words. "Jason," she started, her voice wavering. It was hard to form thoughts when both love and hurt were swirling inside her like a tempest. "This isn't just about you anymore. It's about me and what I've become since you left." Jason opened his mouth to speak, but Tom cut in, his tone sharp. "She has every right to say what she needs, Jason. You don't get to just walk back in and lay claim to her feelings as if nothing happened." With a sigh, Sarah leaned into Tom's strength. "You're right, Tom. I've learned a lot in the past 3 years. I had to survive." She turned back to Jason, forcing herself to meet his gaze. "I won't deny I still care about you. I do. But you can't just come back and expect me to fall for you again without understanding what I've been through." "I know," Jason said, desperation creeping into his voice. "And I'm not asking for forgiveness right away. I just want a chance to explain, to show you I'm different now." The words hung heavy, laced with hope and an undercurrent of dread. Hadn't she spent years reclaiming her independence? The very thought of opening the door to old wounds sent shivers down her spine. "Different?" It was hard to keep the scorn from her voice. "You finally noticed the damage you caused? How you left me to pick up the pieces alone." Tears threatened to spill over, and she blinked them back. This night was supposed to be a celebration, a joyful conclusion to another year gone by. Instead, it was devolving into a showdown filled with unresolved questions and a painful past. "Sarah, please." Jason stepped closer, reaching out as if to bridge the gap, but she flinched away. Tom's protective grip on her hand tightened again, creating an unspoken promise that he wouldn't let her fall apart. He touched her arm gently. "You don't have to do this, Sarah. You fought hard for your happiness." That was the truth she couldn't escape. She had fought, but the shadow of Jason had lingered, blocking out the light of the new life she had built with Tom. "I need to think," she finally said, wrestling with the choices laid before her. "I can't just decide everything right now." Jason's face fell, agony flickering in his eyes. "I'm asking for a moment. Let us step away from here, just you and me. I need you to hear me out." The chaos of the festival surrounded them, yet they felt like the only ones standing still, suspended in a bubble of unresolved feelings. Sarah's inner turmoil churned harder, the weight of her heart pulling her in opposite directions. "Please," Jason implored, his voice slow. "Let me show you what I've learned. I swear it'll be worth your time." Tom's displeasure was unmistakable, a storm brewing within him as he stared at Jason. "I won't let you manipulate her again. This isn't about the past, it's about her future, with or without you." Time seemed to freeze as Sarah weighed her response, feeling the eyes of both men on her. It was a chance to revisit her past, to confront what had once seemed irreparable, or to reaffirm her commitment to moving forward with Tom. Still, there was something electric about Jason's words, a flicker of the past pulling her closer. Could people really change? As the night drew on, overwhelmed by uncertainty, Sarah felt the future tugging at her sleeve, whispering possibilities that both scared and excited her. What if Jason was right? What if he was truly changed? And yet, what waited beyond the comfort of her past with Tom? In the dim light of the fireworks, Sarah's heart raced. She needed to make a decision, one that could define everything. Okay, she breathed, barely above a whisper. Let us talk, but I have to set the rules. The festival continued around them, blissful and unaware, as the three of them shifted into a complicated dance of emotions. Each step could lead to clarity or confusion, intermingling their lives in ways none could predict. As they walked away together into the shadows, uncertainty lingered in the air, waiting to see where this conversation would lead. Would it bridge their past or expose deeper divides? Only the future would reveal what came next. The sound of the festival faded, became a distant echo behind them as they moved through the throngs of laughter and lights. Each step felt heavier, tinged with the weight of expectation. Sarah's heart beat like a drum, drowning out the surrounding joy. The three of them wove through the crowd, but it felt as if time had halted just for them. Where do you want to go? Tom asked, glancing at Sarah. His eyes were a mix of concern and determination, a look that wanted to shield her from the storm brewing ahead, while still supporting her choice. Just somewhere quiet. Sarah bit her lip, heart racing. She needed a momentary retreat from the festive chaos, the laughter, the music, the people who seemed to be blissfully unaware of her struggle. They ended up in a secluded corner near the lake, the moonlight shimmering across the water like tiny stars scattered upon its surface. Another firework exploded overhead, bright and popping, a fleeting moment of enchantment that only deepened her despair. Sarah took a breath, her eyes darting between Jason and Tom. All right, she began, her voice steady despite the storm inside. I'll listen, but I want you to tolerate any excuses. Jason nodded, his expression earnest. I get that I messed up, Sarah. I don't know a way to make it all right, but I've changed. I've had to learn what it means to truly care for someone. I was an idiot when I left, and I know it. Hot tears prickled again, but she held them back, knowing how fragile this moment was. What do you mean you've changed? She pressed, her voice sharper than she intended. How can I believe you? Jason took a step closer, his hands trembling slightly. I've spent these years trying to understand what led me to hurt you the way I did. I went to workshops, talked to professionals, even to friends who called me out on my behavior. I've been working on myself, on becoming someone acceptable, not just to you but to me. The admission shocked her. She wanted to scoff, to call it just words. But a part of her wanted this to be true so much it hurt. And what makes you think I'll just open my heart again after everything? Because, he said, voice thick with urgency, I realized what true love means when I lost you. I can't change the past, but I can fight for a different future. I'm here for you, ready to be open, ready to really listen. Tom shifted beside her, the tension radiating off him like heat waves. You can't expect her to just take you back because you had an epiphany, Jason. I'm not asking her to forgive me instantly, Jason replied, his voice softening as he looked into Sarah's eyes. I'm asking for a chance to show her that I'm serious about this. I want to fight for us, not run away this time. The words hung between them, heavy with unspoken fears. Could she trust him again? Could anyone truly change? Did she even want to gamble with her heart? I need to know how you really feel, she said, searching his eyes. If this is about me or just about guilt. Jason stepped forward, blocking out the dim lights in the distance. It's all about you. You and what I lost when I left. I need you to understand that. You've lived through the worst of it, and you deserve better than I ever gave you. I can't erase my mistakes, but I want to show you that I'm not the same person I was. Sarah's pulse quickened. The conflicting emotions swirled, each half of her battling the other. Tom's unwavering trust in her fight for happiness mingled with Jason's desperate plea for renewal. It felt like choosing between the life she built and the soul she once cherished. So, what happens next? She whispered, her voice barely breaking through the silence, the question hanging heavy as a cloud before a storm. With a deep breath, each man seemed to prepare for what was now a critical leap into the unknown. Sarah sensed the tremors of change thrumming through the air, but also the gravity of the decision she was about to face. In that moment, she realized the stakes were even higher than she thought. What would she sacrifice to find the love she once knew? Or would she turn the page on this chapter once and for all? With the world swirling around them, she felt that everything had come to a head. Her heart raced as the weight of her decision settled in, more pressing than any festival around them. What would she uncover when she finally peeled back those layers? As their eyes locked, the questions loomed larger than ever, waiting for an answer. The moon hung like a guardian in the night sky, illuminating the tension in the air as Sarah searched each face before her. Jason's eyes sparkled with desperation, while Tom's gaze was a mix of hope and caution. The world around them felt irrelevant, every laugh and cheer a distant hum against the pounding in her chest. "Sarah," Tom said softly, breaking the stranglehold of silence. "You don't have to make a choice right now. Take your time." But her heart was racing, the clock ticking louder with every second. How could she take her time when her mind felt like a storm? She looked at Jason, who appeared more vulnerable than she had ever seen him. She wanted to believe him. The hope flickered deep inside her, beneath layers of hurt. "Why now?" she finally asked, trying to unravel the feelings swirling in her mind. "Why not reach out sooner? Why did you wait until tonight, a festival full of laughter, to come and try to explain?" Jason swallowed hard, his expression shifting. "Because I was scared. Scared of facing the reality of what I did. I thought time would erase the pain like it had with my own memories. But it didn't. Every year without you was a reminder of how much I lost. Tonight, a part of me thought maybe it's not too late." Her heart clenched at his words. Could the past really fade, or would it haunt her forever? "I don't want to repeat cycles, Jason," she said, her voice firm yet wavering. "It took me years to rebuild my life and find peace. I can't put myself through that again without knowing you mean what you say." "That's all I'm asking for," he replied, a note of assurance creeping into his voice. "Just a chance to show you. To make things right." A flicker of uncertainty crossed Tom's face, but he remained quiet, allowing Sarah to untangle her thoughts. "Let us take a step back," Tom suggested, sensing the heaviness in the atmosphere. "We can walk away from this tonight if it's too much. It's okay not to have the answer right now." But her heart pulled her in a different direction. She loved the life she had created, one filled with friends and laughter, but a part of her still ached for the love she once knew. "Maybe," she began, her voice trembling. "Maybe all I need is to hear about your journey. I want to know how you've changed and if you can prove it." Jason's wide-eyed surprise turned into relief, and he nodded eagerly. "I can do that. I don't want to hide anymore. I want you to see the work I've put in. I'm ready to open up about everything." A small knot in her stomach began to ease. Tom laid a hand on her shoulder, a silent support that anchored her amidst the chaos. "But what if after all that, I find out you're still not the person I need?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Then I'll accept it," Jason said, the strength behind his words steady and clear. "But I hope you will see that I'm committed. I'm ready to fight." The confrontation loomed before them, and with each passing moment, Sarah could feel the fragile thread of her heart weaving in and out of trust. The warmth of the festival felt colder, more daunting as they delved deeper into their shared history. "Okay, then," she said finally, the resolve sharpening her voice. "Let us talk. But know this, if you want me to believe in you again, you'll have to give me everything." As they sat down on a bench by the lake, the world quieted, leaving only the sound of water lapping against the shore. The air was thick with anticipation, as Sarah wondered how far Jason was willing to go to reclaim her heart. What secrets would reveal themselves in the shadows of their past? Would Jason's journey be enough to bridge the chasm that had formed between them? Each moment held the potential for rebirth or heartbreak. And as her heart raced, Sarah was left wondering what truths lay ahead in this new chapter of their lives. The moon hung still above the festival, its silver light casting a serene glow on the scenes of laughter and joy around them. But for Sarah, the atmosphere felt charged with weighty decisions. They sat on the bench, the lake shimmering beneath the stars, while the memories of youth pulsed like an echo of a distant heartbeat. "Okay, let us start," Sarah said, steadying her resolve. She turned to Jason, eyes narrowing slightly. "Tell me about your journey. What made you realize you needed to change?" Jason took a deep breath, his cheeks flushing with a renewed urgency. "It wasn't until I hit rock bottom that I understood what I truly lost. I spent years denying my faults, thinking I was moving on, but it was like I was running from the shadows of my decisions. When you left, it shattered me. The emptiness pushed me to finally face my demons." His voice was steady but trembled with a vulnerability that struck a chord deep within Sarah. She held his gaze, searching for truth in the depths of his eyes. "What do you mean?" she replied, leaning in closer, hungry for answers yet cautious of the past. "What was the breaking point?" "I reached out for help. I realized I couldn't be the selfish boy I was anymore. I went to therapy and started talking to people who helped me see the light I buried so deep inside." He paused, the sincerity weaving a connection that felt electric. "I've come to terms with my mistakes. I had to face the pain I caused, and it was hard. Every day, it was a fight to become better." "Better," Sarah repeated quietly, wrestling with the weight of his words. Memories flooded back, moments of warmth intertwined with the bitterness of betrayal, a love marred by chaos. Tom shifted beside her, pulling her from her reverie. "You're not still considering him, are you?" His voice was gentle but tinged with a protective instinct. "You've got so much with me, Sarah. We're moving forward. You don't need to look back." A wave of uncertainty washed over her, and the dichotomy of her emotions clashed within. Could Jason really be worthy of her trust, or would she plunge back into pain? "Tom, I need to hear this out," she replied softly, her heart torn between the past and the present. "I understand," Tom said, his voice low yet reassuring. "But just remember the love we share now, the bond we're trying to rebuild." As their eyes met, Sarah felt the deep-rooted love Tom had for her, a brightness she couldn't ignore. But Jason's presence brought forth nostalgia, a magnet pulling her toward familiar warmth, a reminder of who she once aspired to be. "Okay, Jason," she whispered, squaring her shoulders with determination. "You wanted to prove you've changed. Show me." A flicker of relief crossed Jason's face. "I will. I went to group sessions where we shared our experiences, learned about vulnerability, and how communication is key. I want to be someone worth loving, Sarah. I want you to see the man I've become." Her heart quickened. "Show me," she insisted, her voice stronger, full of a new conviction. "What does that even look like?" He took another deep breath, gathering the thoughts swirling in his mind. "It means being honest. It means no more running. It means fighting through my fears to be open about everything and to listen to you without trying to fix it all." As he spoke, Sarah watched him, searching for the echoes of who he had once been, yet listening for sincerity ceaselessly. "And what if it's not enough?" she asked, her heart pounding in her chest. "What if you can't hold on to that commitment?" "I'll understand," he replied, steadfast. "But I'd rather take that risk than face a lifetime of regrets. I want to show you that I am worthy. You deserve a choice, Sarah. Whether it's me or not, that's yours to make." Tension enveloped them like a blanket, the path before Sarah holding promises and pitfalls alike. She felt the warmth radiating from Tom, juxtaposed against Jason's pleading eyes, a collision of past and present. "I fought hard to build my own happiness without you," she admitted, each word carefully measured. "But I remember all we had, the laughter. The endless dreams we painted together. It's confusing." A tender smile crept across Jason's face, acknowledging the bittersweet truth. "I want to reclaim your trust. However long it takes, however tough it gets, I want you back down. What we had was real, and it can be real again if you believe." Sarah paused, weighing her heart against the rustling winds of change. It was scary, but could there be healing in this? A chance to understand her own worth? "The temptation to turn back is strong," she whispered, her heart undecided. "Then allow me to show you my growth," he urged, sincere. "Maybe together we can find a way to blend our past and present to create something new." A light breeze rolled across the lake, sending ripples through the water, mimicking the shift within her being. What if I find peace in learning together? She pondered aloud, imagining the path ahead. Jason nodded, hope filling his expression. Exactly. Let the past guide us, but not govern us. We can create a story anew. Okay, she breathed, feeling the fragile thread of her decision weaving into reality. Let us do it, but on my terms. Whatever you need, he replied softly. And then turning to Tom, she continued, and you too, Tom. I want us all to be clear. This journey starts with honesty, with open hearts. Tom nodded, resolve etched into every line of his face. I'm willing to support that. I don't want to lose you again, Sarah. The weight of vulnerability settled between them, and as the moonlight bathed them in silver, Sarah took a deep breath. Would they be able to navigate this new chapter? Would she find clarity among the shifting colors of love and confusion? As the festival lights flickered with excitement around them, she felt a glimmer of hope ignite within. This was the beginning of a new journey, a conversation to reclaim her heart, to grasp the threads of healing that had woven their way back into her life. And so, the night continued with fireworks overhead, a celebration of potential yet to unfold. Would they rise to the occasion? Would they learn to love fiercely, to break old patterns? Time would tell, but one thing was certain: Sarah was ready to embrace whatever came next. It was time to reclaim her narrative, one that wasn't just about past mistakes, but one that could carve a future rich with promise, growth, and perhaps love once again. As she sat there, surrounded by the echoes of laughter and the brightness of the night, Sarah felt her heart open just a little bit more. Whatever came next, she was ready. Now, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that could inspire your own journey of love and transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us spread positivity and growth. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this incredible transformation. Your support means the world, and together, we can build a community of love and resilience.